And police out in force tonight stopping drunk drivers.
But how effective are these sobriety checkpoints?
Why many of the people caught are never even prosecuted.
WBZ News at 11 starts now. Just a few minutes ago, state police started pulling over drivers at a checkpoint in Boston on the lookout for drunken drivers.
Now, these checkpoints get a lot of attention, especially around the New Year celebrations, but how effective are they as a weapon against DWI? Jonathan Elias is out at tonight's checkpoint, and Jonathan, catching drunk drivers can be more challenging than many people think.
Catching them might be easier than actually keeping them. But if you've never been through one of these sobriety checkpoints, let me show you how this works. You pull up here, they just tell you to stop, and it really takes just a couple of seconds. How are you, officer?
Good evening, sir. This is a state police and Boston Police sobriety checkpoint, and we're checking all operators for sobriety.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In the time it took him to say that, he's already determined whether or not I'm going to pass through or I'm going to jail.
We've been doing them for maybe 20 years or so.
They've been doing them a long time, and they'll do it tonight. Boston Police, State Patrol, Suffolk County Sheriff's deputies all coming together to set up a sobriety checkpoint in the heart of the city.
It impacts families, it impacts a lot of people, and there's no more dangerous weapon than somebody who's under the influence of alcohol behind a 3,000-pound car.
But before setting up a checkpoint, these officers must first make sure they follow a long list of rules and regulations, or else.
If we deviate from any of it, there is a potential where a defense attorney can file a motion to throw the case out.
Have you represented people before that have been caught up in these roadblocks?
Of course.
And what have been the results of those cases?
Well, I've had success in filing motions to suppress. The guidelines are so stringent that oftentimes there are mistakes.
Defense attorney David Yannetti doesn't like the use of checkpoints. He's fought and won cases from arrests made during these stops. Troopers and officers agree. They are seeing more legal challenges from arrests made here. Yannetti says it's not an issue of public safety, but more a violation of someone's constitutional rights.
You have to do something wrong or be negligent in some way to be pulled over. With a roadblock, that's not true. You could be going the speed limit, driving perfectly safe, driving perfectly straight, paying attention, doing fine, and yet you get pulled over anyway.
Even if you catch somebody red-handed, they may get off.
What bothers me is the fact that somebody at this day and age will still get intoxicated and get behind the wheel of a vehicle.
And this is a live picture right now of this sobriety checkpoint that is about to get started. Some could argue that a lot of people aren't convicted as a result of it, but law enforcement would be very quick to counter that by saying, if you are drunk and they catch you out tonight, at least you will not be a threat tonight, because you will be arrested, your car will be impounded, and you cannot get it back for a minimum of 12 hours. In Boston, I'm Jonathan Elias, WBZ News. Back to you.
Well, how about the checkpoints up and running tonight? I assume this is not the only one.
Oh, no, they're calling it a saturation weekend. They want to make sure with New Year's coming along, they want folks to know they're not going to tolerate it at all. This is just one of 3 checkpoints that are set up somewhere around the Commonwealth.
All right, as Jonathan says, these checkpoints do pull questionable drivers off the road, quite a few of them, in fact. During the past year, state police made 556 OUI arrests at their checkpoint.